It's not always the great that do great things, mostly those willing to do them. This is the quote that I go by, and the one that I have made by myself. I'll admit, it does take inspiration from other quotes and individuals that have shaped me into the way that I am today. Take, for example, Henry Van Dyke's, "Use what talents you possess. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang there except those who sang best." This encourages people that you don't have to be the best at something to be able to do it. In this video, I will tell you everything that I've come to find about making do with what you have and how I take strides to do that which I want to do. As such, I will cover a diverse subject material: skills, character, success, and the fool's errand known as perfection. So sit down in your seat if you're ready and you're willing, because we are going to begin. So we are starting with skills. That thing that everyone has, but few like to admit most of the time, or are a little too adamant about admitting. They certainly make people stand out, and can be a calling card for most people, especially when there are people that just have these insane abilities. Skills were always an interesting subject for me because, in the most basic sense, I was quite mediocre at a lot of them. In fact, there wouldn't be anything that I would consider myself more than above average for. However, skills were always something that I kind of took and learned a ton of on the fly. Thinking about it, there is but a few things that I would consider myself below average at. Now, being good at things is cool and all, but however, there is such a thing as soft skills. These are the skills that are given to you as a human being, and I suppose you could call them character in a more simple sense. Soft skills are where the willing step in. You see, you could know the innermost pockets of the universe, be a master of some skills that are ludicrously rare and potent, and do whatever else omnipotent things whenever. If you don't want to, you're not. Then there comes the other side of the spectrum, people that are modest in skills and they want to do something, but they don't believe that they are worthy to, or are worried about screwing everything up. Well, I can tell you I've certainly been there, and it's a cage. Shortly after coming into this world, I've learned that there are people naturally at a predisposition to be better at things. I've hit some points where I thought it would be better not to try because there would be somebody that would swoop in because they were seemingly designed to do it. Take, for example, a friend of mine. He could literally sit on the couch all year eating potato chips and still be far stronger than most people I know. Disposition. There's plenty of other examples that could be given. I used to call it prodigies, slamming my fists on the ground as there was no way in heck that I was besting them. With that is a good point to talk about success. It commonly is associated with victory. Heck, I believe even the dictionary sides with that one. Well, I don't. I side with Henry David Thoreau in that success is about the journey, getting better every day, even though you are seemingly over-encumbered with limits. For every single step you get knocked back, take two forward, and that kind of thing. Everything worth aiming for will be a journey, and a journey is fraught with failures. Heck, I'm far from the 1,000-odd times it took to invent the light bulb. Indeed, often, I don't take home big victories, but I always take the small victories where I can. Too often today, people believe that failure is absolute, that failure is permanent, and a mark of inferiority. That to do something even though you'd fail is something completely stupid and unworthwhile. I've come to learn that the best teaching comes from the school of hard knocks. Failure is the only method of learning what not to do seriously. If you always succeed at what you set off to do, you're not doing something right. To me, the definition of success is the failed attempts that you plowed through to further yourself. As far as I'm concerned, you could be penniless, down on the bottom of your luck in everything. If you know what you're venturing for and continue making steps towards that, you're successful in my mind. Success isn't measured by a big truck, the perfect nuclear family, or being loaded with money. Success is measured by the constant moving forward, marching to one's own tune. Maybe the song is off time, or unlike any other, but it will lead you better than the same old tune can. In the end, successes are small, little adventures that add up to a far greater journey. They will be severely outnumbered by failures or the learning experiences that make up every little success. Now, we come to what I earlier called the fool's errand of perfection. This is actually a concept I discussed a long time ago, back in the early days of my inspiration series on epic productions. Within it, I discuss how there was no point in being perfect, that it contradicts our state of being.
Unfortunately, that is overlooking the difference between perfection and mastery. You can master something, do it 100% to its maximum, that is mastery. However, perfection is being the ultimate being, which we are not, in mastering everything to its maximum. And even if we had the time, somebody would have to choose the right and wrong things to master to have a shot. And no matter how righteous you are or think you are, today there are far too many gray areas. Not being a fox and the grapes here, but anyways, what would be the point of perfection? Mastery is exhilarating and great, and it feels good. Yet, it is always underlooked from perfection. What would the point of being perfect be? You would go about your days, yet look no cause to them. There wouldn't be that strive to always become better. You physically couldn't.
I believe that those words speak for themselves. Our purpose in life isn't to be these great, perfect, godlike beings. Yet we hold ourselves back from doing important things simply because we are not what we're not really supposed to be anyways. In the end, something that you decide not to do simply doesn't get done until someone else comes along. Until then, there will be more people that themselves think that they are unworthy of doing it. In the words of Henry Van Dyke again, the world is comprised of many, many birds, and none of them are the best. However, why cannot they make their own joyous tune together? It comes down to when you see something that you know needs to be fixed. You feel connected to the issue. Think of how you can fix it instead of can you fix it.